alert to come up, and there we go. We got it. We're all good. Good morning, everyone. This is Carol Sue, aka None Boss, live. I'm trying to adjust my camera on this Fantabulous Friday with two
Sisters. Good morning, everyone. This is Janis, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. We are in the frozen tundra of the month of February. Today is Friday, February 3rd, and of course, Punxsutawney Phil had a little prediction yesterday of 6 more weeks of winter. And I gotta say, although we haven't, even though it's been brutally cold here, we haven't had a winter, meaning we haven't had any snow. We've had a dusting maybe here and there.
Well, and I would like to happily report on February 2nd, the palm tree saw its reflection on the beach, and we are guaranteed 6 more weeks of paradise.
Well, that's just so nice. I don't know what to say.
I have to throw that in, but today we do have that kind of gray look to it. I believe we're going to get some residual rains or whatever, because I guess there's a big storm over the Texas area or it's going through. So we should see a little bit of rain today, but it does have, if you didn't know you were in New England, you would think you were in New England because it's kind of gray outside. But that is all right. I don't mind that because we are yesterday we were blessed with another gorgeous day. So, bring on the gray days. And what I tell people is what we always talk about, Jan, is that, if you're in that gray, gloomy kind of atmosphere, brighten it up, put a light on, put some good music on, really get that vibe flowing for yourself by creating that atmosphere that it's bright, cheery, and all that. Because a lot of times that gray look really does a number on our endorphins, how we feel. And really, when it happens on a Friday, I don't think people mind it as much because they know the mindset's going into the weekend anyways, that TGIF feeling. But, it's just a good habit to get into, say, you know what? I'm not going to let the gray look define me today. I'm going to bring my own sunshine. I'm going to create my own vibes and heat. And I think that's just a great way to kind of look at that kind of day that sort of sucks the life out of you.
Right. You have to create your own, momentum with that. And, whatever that may be, it may be, that you go to a room where there's a lot of sunlight in it, that natural light is really nice. Of course, where my office is, I have a door over there, the sliding glass doors. I couldn't get that word out. But I keep it closed now, obviously, because of the cold. I have a little bit of sunlight coming in, but I'll specifically go out there a lot in the, I call it the green room, which is actually blue. Just to have that natural sunshine in, for instance, like when you're on your beach, the first thing when you sit down is, excuse me, you relax and you kind of feel that, and you feel that sun beating on you. And that's kind of that feeling that I get out in the green room.
And that's just the way to be in that mindset, because mindset is a key piece. But today's a day to celebrate. We did not go on yesterday for Trending Thursday, but I did want to share a little thing that's trending that I actually started to do, which I think is going to be very helpful for me, is I've been talking, obviously we always talk about different lifestyles. I've been an intermittent faster now for 3 years, and there's still so much to learn. I ordered this book on Amazon, Fast, Feast, Repeat. And I'm super excited. Hopefully it comes in. I think it's supposed to come in tonight. But it also recommended an app, an intermittent fasting app, which really broke down. And I'm going to actually, let's see if I can get to it so I can tell you exactly what it does. But what I liked about it, which I never really thought about, is when you're in fast mode, the different pieces of where you are in that intermittent fasting. So the first part is the fast mode, right? So that is where you're in the anabolic state. And that is when your blood sugars are rising, the secretion of sugar is increasing, you're digesting your food is being stored in the body. It's actually breaking down between the protein, the fat, the acids, fatty acids, and converting it to into hold on, let me move it up here. Glycerin, I could never pronounce that word, glycogen, I guess, and whatever stored delivers. So it's storing up all those natural things that your body needs. But then the second phase is the catabolic stage, which that's where our blood sugar actually drops, and the insulin is now secreted. Secretion that was there is now starting to decrease. So your digestive system, your stomach, all that stirring up is now starting to rest because you're not taking any more food. You're not storing any more like nutrients and all the compositions of the different pieces that go into that. And then the last phase is the fat burning stage, which is happening right now in my body. This is where my body is now going to use the stored energy from the glycogen in the liver. And I might not be pronouncing that right. Glycogen. I'm going to go with glycogen. Kind of sounds
glycogen.
Glycogen. There we go. See, it's a long I instead of a short I, soft I. So there we go. Glycogen. Is that how you pronounce it? Say it again.
Glycogen.
Glycogen. Yeah. So now the human growth hormone that's kind of in your body, your HGH, is now increasing. And it's what your body's doing is now it's initiating that fat burn, the muscle repair, and then boosting of your metabolism. So this part of the fasting is the best time to get some movement in. So it kind of breaks all that down, which I thought was really great. It also lets you know how long you've been fasting, where you want to be, gives you all your areas to store your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, your snacks. You also put in what goals that you're looking for, and it breaks everything down. And then there are some certain foods that maybe you might not be able to find. So that's where you're going to list all your macros and all that other good stuff. But the name of the app is called, get to that again. Do fasting. So DF, it's a round circle, and it's called Do Fasting. And the other thing that I'm finding out, let me go back over here. The other thing that I'm finding out is, I've been really struggling, and, we're always raw and real, about anything that we are doing for ourselves to improve our health and wellness. I've been struggling with not doing my traditional fasting that I was, because I'm on Thrive Elite. It's calling for smaller, more frequent meals. It's not working for me. I'm really struggling with that piece to it because my body's so used to intermittent fasting. So I said, well, how can I do this a little bit better than to kind of fit that in, but also make sure that I'm mindful of this new product that I'm using. So when I did a little more investigating, and that's where I found this fast feast break book, and what it was talking about is I was just really in my eating window, which anyone that's in intermittent fasting knows that you could be doing different types of windows, but not all windows really fit your specific needs. So I was probably, 19, 25, 24, meaning I was fasting for 20 hours and eating in that window of 4 hours. But the problem that I was doing was I would break my fast with my 3 steps because that's calorie intake. And then probably within a half hour, I'd have lunch. And then like an hour and a half later, I'd eat dinner. So what I'm doing differently to kind of compensate for the way that Thrive Elite wants me to eat is I'm more structured now. So I'm dedicating like my calories, and the way my program is set up within this app is that I'm obviously utilizing my 3 steps. That's where I'm breaking my fast. Well, that's my breakfast. So I'm not doing that and then actually eating at breakfast, which I was doing before in my intermittent, my window eating of intermittent fasting. So right now what I'm doing is taking in my Thrive Elite, and that counts as my breakfast. Then I wait an hour and a half, and I'm now doing like an actual real true snack. Before I really wasn't. Then I'm breaking it down even further, doing a lunch, and then doing my dinner. Not eating, still staying within what I'm supposed to eat, staying within, my calorie intake. I'm doing all that well, but I've spaced out because I'm actually trying to really implement just doing an 18-hour fast in a 6-hour window, which gives me a little bit more stretch time to do those smaller meals. So I'm on day 3 of doing it that way. So far, so good. I like it because now I'm really being even more accountable, because a lot of times when you kind of get into that groove of whatever lifestyle you're doing, you don't, and we always talk about this, we don't keep track of things. You know, we get so used to doing it that we just do it. And then when we start to actually break it down, this way I'm breaking it down in an app, I'm really seeing exactly how many calories I should be having at any one meal or a snack. In addition to, you know, sometimes you'll reach for a food and it's still a healthy snack, but then you reach for 2, 3, and 4 of them, you don't even realize. And now within that window of that calorie intake for that particular meal, now you're over and you don't even realize it. So it's keeping me more accountable. It's a really easy app. And it really, really does help even those that are, you know, traditional intermittent fasters. I learned so much even after 3 years of fasting. So I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's awesome. And, you know, as I've always often said, there's an app for that. And that's so good that you're able to really be involved with your progress and actually understand what it's mean. Because a lot of times when you say intermittent fasting, people are like, well, I cannot eat for a certain amount of time. That's really weird, but they don't understand the full gamut of that. So that's pretty neat.
And you know, the interesting fact, because I'm on their app, they have an actual, in Facebook, they actually have a supporting group. And I was surprised on how so many people, even on the app, because obviously when you get an app, now all of a sudden you start to see the apps, the ads for it. So many people, the misconception that they think intermittent fasters are starving themselves. I cannot tell you, I'm talking about hundreds upon hundreds of posts, because they're looking at, say, an 18-6, which means 18-hour fast 6. So they're thinking, oh my God, you're starving yourself. They're not accounting for, you know, you're fasting while you sleep. So it's not like you get up at 7 a.m. and you're not eating until 10 o'clock at night. That's not what's happening. You've already had, you know, hopefully 7, 6, 7, 8, 10 hours of intermittent fasting already. So I was surprised on how people really, they don't understand the concept of intermittent fasting and think that people are starving themselves. We are not starving ourselves at all, people. I can tell you that. But it is a great way when you understand your body when it is in fast mode. See, now I know, because a lot of times I would just get up and really start doing a workout. That's probably not the best thing for me. I should be doing it when my body's in fat burning mode. That's when I want to be, you know, doing some exercise or, you know, getting a workout, swimming, doing my stretch bands, whatever it may be, and getting that burn on because my body's burning this optimum time. So I think what I learned, which I did not know, you know, much better, is how my body's operating in when it's in that state, and that understanding the 3 states of my body through that. And then really figuring out, which I absolutely love, because I'm not always necessarily a person that wants to get up in the morning and exercise. A lot of people don't. I know you love it. I'm not one of those people that does that. I would prefer to work out like later in the day. So this works out perfectly.
Oh, that's awesome. And, just kind of going back to the week in general, obviously so many things have happened this week. Of course, we already talked about that little groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil. Try saying that 3 times fast.
Right.
Of course, the passing of Cindy Williams. She was the actress on Laverne Shirley. And of course, your Tommy retiring from football. And,
But is he?
who knows?
I don't know if you heard about, well, Bob Kraft had announced that he would love, and of course the fans, fans that really respect the game of football, that really understand, the input he has in that sport, for him to sign a contract for one day, play one day, and actually have him physically retire as a Patriot, because he started as a Patriot. He was a Patriot all his life, his entire career, except for the last, 2.5 years when he was with the Bucs. And ironically, the year that he moved to Florida officially to become a Buck was the same year we moved. And ironically, we bought this painting of a beautiful beach scene with a lifeguard hut on it. And it has number 12 on it. We never even realized it when we bought it. So once I hung it up, I think I posted a picture and someone said, oh, so you moved to Florida, you got that picture and, you know, what, Tommy's following you, or was it the other way around? Because everyone knows what a big Tommy Brady fan I am. But I wouldn't be opposed to him signing a one-day contract and, you know, really ending his career there. I know a lot of people think it's ridiculous, but, you know, he had a lot of impact, not only in the sport, and we will never, ever, at least in our lifetime, we will never see someone that, you know, accomplished what he did in the sport. He also did a lot for the New England community as a whole, you know, the tri-state community of New England, you know, where we call, you know, you got Rhode Island, you know, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine. I mean, he really cultivated and did so many, not only in New England spirit, but, you know, really across the United States. He's so involved in so many different charities, and he's really a giving person. He's not arrogant. And a lot of people I heard a lot of reporters that were not surprised, but still kind of shocked that he wouldn't go for one more year. But a lot of people didn't realize that his ultimate goal was to leave a very structured, clean lifestyle and play to the age of 45, regardless of how that play went. Now, when I say that, he made the final goal of 45, and not many players can do that. He's also leaving without any major injuries, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes a quarterback, especially in that quarterback position, will play even longer, and that's when they get injured. So he's smart that way. But he left everything out on the field. And despite this last year, even though the supporting cast wasn't the best, he had no offensive line. He had no, you know, the defense did okay. But even with that, his stats were still better than a lot of other teams that had better records. So he can certainly hang up those cleats with his head held high. And if anyone saw his post on Instagram, I mean, it was so thoughtful. And he was right on. He said, look, I'm not going to give you this long speech. You only get one opportunity, and I used it up last year. But you could just see the emotion in him. So kudos to him. And if he decides to do the one-day deal, I'm all for it. If he doesn't, that's fine too.
So here's a question, something about nothing, but really something when you put it in your pocket. So here's the question. You're doing laundry, right? And you check the pockets, and out comes a $20 bill. Whose money is it?
Well, finders, keepers, losers, weepers. I think that's how it goes. Yeah, you got that going. So maybe the person doing the laundry is getting a tip. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yes, exactly. Because somebody said to me this morning, they were looking for something. And what I stated was, and this is before I started doing the laundry this morning, was that someone needs to be responsible for checking their pockets, especially for cash, before they put said pants in the laundry bin, because after that, you know, all bets are off. I said, I haven't seen it. And I was being accused of taking $20 because he thought he had put it in a specific place.
Well, funny thing, I guess people were having issues with pockets. Johnny had issues with pockets with his wallet this week. He was convinced he left it at a restaurant, so much so that, you know, he was going to bank everything on it. That's not what happened. Then it was found because it actually fell out of, it was in a bag because we were going to the beach and whatnot. So he apparently put it in there and just kind of forgot about that. So anywho, after, you know, hours of reduplicating things that were in said wallet, it was found. And I think that's a common, I would say we have to put that to our viewers and our listeners. What is the most common? Because I think most of the time it's men that do that. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, but I'm hearing more and more about simple scenarios or similar scenarios to that. So I would like to put that out to our listeners and our viewers. Who commonly leaves something in their pockets? Because it's not even just cash. Like he'll put tissues in there, toothpicks. You go to the restaurant and they have the single and they're wrapped in, the little plastic paper. Those are in there, tissues, sometimes keys, cash. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Why can't they just empty out their pockets?
I don't know. I sent him a picture of it and said, "Oh, honey, thanks so much for the tip for doing the laundry." And he said, "I told you I was looking for that." I'm like, "Well, sorry."
Finders keepers. I mean, it is kind of funny though, but I don't know. I don't know too many women that do that. Now, on the flip side of it, the defense and or debate or the comeback on that would be, well, why did you put them in the washing machine? Why didn't you check? Now, sometimes I do, because I'm one of those. The other question that came up, sidebar, something about nothing. I always make sure that clothes going in are turned the correct way in, meaning everyone takes their clothes off, now they're inside out. Well, guess what? If I throw them in the wash that way, which a lot of times I do, but when it comes to the drying piece, I will make sure that they are the correct way inside out, the other way around, going back to the way it should be. So I don't always check the pockets because I'm sometimes just throwing the load in and you're not feeling like an individual piece. So that was the question. Well, why don't you check them? Because it's not my job. My job is washing them because you suck at doing laundry because he mixes the colors and that drives me insane. But help a girlfriend out.
Yeah,
take your crap out.
Called laundry etiquette. And by the way, I don't know if you remember me last week talking about, my big winter stocks, and they're pretty thick. And I was missing two different sets.
Yeah.
So of course, when those were the last two that I would wear, before I do the laundry. And I was looking at them first part of this week, and I'm like looking at my feet and I'm like, I got to find these today. Like they have to be just stuck like right behind the dryer or whatever. Sure enough, they were there. So I did find them and I was very happy that I found my socks.
And that's a win. I mean, I think most women can say, because we always joke around, because I knew we're not going to put all men on the fence there. There are men that do laundry. So kudos to you guys that do laundry. I know my son-in-law does laundry and he's actually an excellent folder too. Both everything precise and neat and tidy, which is a big help. And I think, a guy that can do that and, still be masculine and, work outside the home, do all those good things. That's a cool thing. But, put this to our listeners, our viewers, how many, you get kind of a funny excitement over finding that sock. Did it disappear in the wash machine? Or a lot of people sometimes in between the washer and the dryer or behind it. I love our laundry room, the way that it's set up. It's a nice laundry room and they're very tight together. So very rarely, I don't think I've ever found anything in between, but sometimes the one closest to the wall, which happens to be the wash machine, I'll catch something on the side. And it could, I think we all can say we have one of those sock drawers that has missing socks.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So the question of the day, what have we decided for the question of the day?
Oh, and we have to find out who our nominees were, because it is Fantabulous Friday. But before we get into all that, we talk about today's a day that we celebrate each other. We celebrate all of our listeners, our viewers, and we celebrate you out in podcast world, out in live world, out in IG world, Facebook world. This is a day that you celebrate you. You have that hard conversation with yourself and say, you know what? Despite everything, I got a lot done. And a lot of people say, what did you really get done? You said you were going to do A, B, C, or D. You even proclaimed it on your life. Did you actually do it? Sometimes we don't get to the whole piece to it. But there's always stepping stones. There's always something to be grateful for that we did accomplish, even if it wasn't the full enchilada. Maybe we were derailed. Maybe we were sidetracked. Maybe your week didn't go as planned because you had other things going on in your life that, were unexpected or planned, and you knew it was going to be one of those weeks where you weren't going to get everything done. The bottom line is we all need to still celebrate, because if you really look hard and review your week in a week's time, there are things that you did accomplish. They may be small things, and there's nothing wrong with that. So pat yourself on the back, have that conversation with yourself in the mirror. You did good. We all did good.
That's right. So celebrate those wins, however tiny, they are really big in the grand scheme of things. So, question of the day.
What would be the question of the day? I would say, kind of that question we were just talking about, on laundry. Who is the culprit of the person leaving stuff in pockets when you're doing laundry? Is it the man or is it the woman? And yes, those are the two sexes we're identifying with, because there's only two sexes. Just
boy.
putting that out there.
Okay.
Man or woman, girl or boy, lady or gent.
Right, exactly. So the Stunod Award of the week. So our nominees were Corinne Jean-Pierre, Shifty TikTok Shift, and Fang's boyfriend, Mr. Swalwell.
That's right. So who won? I'm drum roll.
Well, we got to go with Shifty TikTok Shift. Congratulations.
Oh, Senator Shiffer Rooney. No, he's a congressman, right? I was gonna, yeah, he's not a senator. I should never give you that accolade. Hopefully he'll never be senator. Yeah, and there's just something odd about the man, I mean, never mind the TikTok, what he did on TikTok was so bizarro. Yeah, the camera being like up his nostrils, and it was just way too close to the camera. Yeah, hang up your TikTok. And by the way, for those of you that love TikTok, remember who owns it. And it's not the United States that owns that app, nor was it invented in the United States, just so you know. I like that, but we've got to have some new nominees, right?
Right. So I think I really have to think about that one.
I do too. I think maybe we wait till Monday to announce that, because there's a bunch that are in the running, and I haven't really caught that many clips of things that I could actually even really nominate. I've got some in mind of some things that I've seen. Actually, I take that back. I do have one I'm going to announce. It is Jill Biden. Jill, Dr. Jill Biden. I'm going to nominate her. And the reason why I'm going to nominate her is because this week, she really, yeah, I mean, you see how everything is orchestrated, and you gotta have blinders on if you don't see what's going on. But they were at some event, I'm not sure what the event was, and reporters, rightfully so, are asking questions, because obviously there's a lot going on with, what's the rate of the day? And she got in there, and it almost seemed like she was dragging him away. And it was just foolish looking of her. And the reason why she was doing that was to get him away, get him on stage. But the way she's pulling him, I guess he gathered maybe they were going to dance, because she makes it, no, we're not going to dance. Come on up. And the reason why she was doing that was so he could not answer questions. And why do I think that's stupid? I think it's obviously stupid, because you're actually showing that he can't answer any questions, and you don't want him answering questions to the reporters. The people are not stupid, Jill. Even though you think you're playing us, you're not. So I think it was a stupid move, because now it makes her look even more ridiculous. So I am nominating her.
Well, there's a lot going on with that. It is my device. Those are my pictures, but it's not. And I'll just leave it at that. I think you can figure out who I'm
Yeah.
talking.
Yes. And we know we talk about so many different things on our podcast, and we love that. All these things that we talk about, whether you like it or not, obviously they're our opinion. However, they do impact our health and wellness. We know that people get stressed out. I heard a lot of people obviously very upset, and you could see the health stress all over their faces, just talking about bread, milk, and eggs. You know, a lot of people are getting alerts that electricity, we're going to see a spike in that cost. Obviously, dead in the winter, which means you know, either are stoking that fire, you're adding to the wood to help defray the cost of oil or propane. That's a lot of stress for people. Guess what, people? All those things do impact our health and wellness. So we talk about them because it's good to talk about it to a certain degree to kind of get it off your chest. But then at the end of the day, knowing it's not in our control. But what's in our control is what we surround ourselves. It's always good to be abreast of things that are going on in our world, but don't let it suck you in so much so that it really starts to impact your health and wellness. Because one thing I learned this week, there are several stages of dementia. I believe there's about 8 to 10. And one of them, I was shocked, had to do with the front lobal piece of our brain. And that type of dementia actually hits people under the age of 50 or in that bracket. See, we commonly see dementia hitting people at an older age. That particular one hits people younger. And it's rare, but it does happen. The other key piece is one of the number one things is lifestyle that we can is preventable. So they talk about stress. They talk about not putting good nutrients in your gut, not taking nootropics, which is good for your brain, doing, using your brain, whether it's reading, whether it's writing, whether it's learning. You should never stop learning, whether, you're learning something through an app or you're actually doing the research or reading about it. Those are all great exercises to keep our brain healthy. So there's all these things that are going on in our world that we do talk about. We talk about a variety of things, nothing about nothing, politics, lifestyles, healthy gut, fitness, gadgets, and then, everything in between. But all those things encompass our health and our wellness and our mindset. So that's why we talk about that, because somebody asked me that the other day. They go, are you a podcast about, politics? Are you a podcast about health? And I said, we are very unique that way, that we talk about all, eclectic subject matters. And ironically, all of them do impact our health, wellness, mindset.
They sure do. They sure do. And on that note, I did think of somebody to add to that list, but I think I'll announce it on Monday.
Okay.
So Fantabulous Friday, everyone. We want you to, again, reply to our question of the day. You can always go to www.TwoSistas online. And the question is, who is the culprit when it comes to doing laundry? How did we phrase it?
Leaving things in the pockets.
Oh, leaving things in the pockets. When it
Right.
comes
So, right. When you're doing laundry, and then usually, I think a lot of times, a lot of people find it when it's in the drying mode, like when you've actually taken it out of the washing machine and put it in the dryer. Sometimes you hear clunk, clunk, and you go, oh, there's a pair of keys in there. Oh, what's that? Thump, thump, thump. Oh, it's a wallet. Or then when you take, and you don't hear the noises, but you take out, and all of a sudden, dollar bills or $20 bills falling out. Or the worst is those that leave Kleenex in their damn pockets, because then you got all those little piddly little things all over in the dryer and in your lint thing, and it's just a mess.
It's a mess. And on that note, again, we hope you have an amazing weekend. You will see us back on Monday for
Mindset Monday.
That's a mouthful for me this morning. My name is Janis, and I am with Two
Sisters, and this is Carol, so AKA Nani Boss, hoping that all of you, Nani Boss, hoping that all of you really enjoy your weekend. Think of your mindset, always paying it forward with kindness. making sure that, you know, you're not sabotaging yourself, that you're going to regret things on Monday because you overate. But there's also a time for you to actually rejuvenate. So don't feel bad about, you know, I'm not going to exercise this weekend. You know what? I'm gonna curl up on a couch and read a good book. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. Self-awareness is going to actually bring you much happiness because you're going to focus on self-care, and that's always important. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you Monday for Monday Mindset. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.